Today I'm going to start a series of videos where I'm going to be breaking down words and showing you why they mathematically add up to what they mean and why we use the words we do. If people only consciously understood the outcomes of what we say and what we do, not just thinking it as some catchphrase, they'd make profound differences in the world. That's why I have to start with these kind of things that get your foot in the door to understand the higher part of what we are. So there are tons of words out there that a lot of people have no idea, like why is it spelled that way, or I wonder why they have this with an E or that with an I, or two here, or this makes a silent sound, or all those kind of examples. When we get to them, I'll explain exactly why, and you'll see that it isn't wrong. I'm not trying to be too in your face, or I'm not trying to be too matter of fact, but the point is, it is the fact. So I think it should matter. Therefore, here is the first of this video series. We're going to start with the word and, a very simple word. The letter A activates things. As you see, it's the first letter, so it's like a straight line down in the middle, or it's the letter A, which indicates a point at the top, a line in the middle, and an open bottom, which is activated. Now, the N is also the 14th letter, so the number would be 14, and if you took that number, it would be AD. So if you notice, A being 1, then we have A again, and D in the 1 spot, if you would say 14, or just N would be that notion of now, and then D is the letter that the go through, the doorway letter. So if you would break it down in its normal form, it would be active now, dia, or active now, through. And then if you broke it down in its most base way, you could say actively active, through itself, through itself. So if one person is doing it and you wanted to say and, you would say AADD instead of ADDED, added. It's not separate from it. It's just added. You know what I mean? I know it sounds funny, but literally, that's why the word and is the word and. Now we can look at the word mind. Okay, the mind, starting with an M, is the 13th letter. You could say manifest. And since we also have a 2-digit number for that letter, it could also be broken down into 1 and 3, which are A and C, an activated concept. But since the A is in the 10th spot, it is an active tense concept, which is manifest. Then we have an I, which is the identified number. We have an N, again, which has 14 as its number for its letter. And you could break that down into AD, so you could say acting through, or now, or this notion. And then D, as in the doorway in which it goes through, dia. So you could say the manifested, identified, now, doorway through. So the word mind is exactly that. When you think of something, or when you use your thoughts, you dig them out of something, the mind. Just like if you were to go mining for gold, you put an E between the N and the D because you've expressed out from yourself, you've expressed outward, and you're going through the doorway of something else, which is breaking into the ground. Or if you just say dig right here, it's going through that identified generation or grouping. Now we'll do in and out. I've already broken down the last couple N's we've had for the 1 and the 4 for 14 for it being N. But I'll do it one more time with this one. So we have the I for 9, which is the identified. And now that N is that now moment. So we're identified in this now moment, or that shape of an N where you're right in the center of it. Then if you broke it down into AD, you'd say active through this doorway. So I'm identified actively through this doorway, or through this one-sided to the other side thing. I'm in it. All right, and then out, we have ongoing, which is 15, could be broken down into AE and say actively expressing. So it's ongoing because we're in the active is in the tense spot and E is in the 1 spot. So you could say actively express. And then B, A for you, being the 21st letter, you can make that BA. You'd say based in twents, or in the 10th spot, active. So it's base active, intense. That means it's a unit of something. It's either unit, unanimous, that kind of thing. So you could just say unit or based, active. Now, T being a straight 20 can also be plus or base ongoing. And the ongoing is an active expression. So in that same way, being out of something is being where it's ongoing and is a unit plus, because from that unit you're plussing away from it. The shape of a U moves you out of there. It's a T plus 1 is what a U is. So it's like 2NE as a unit or as a unanimous thing outside of that O. The word here or between these two lines, which is held in between. And then we have E, which is the fifth letter, expressing. Then we have A, the first letter, activating. A R, which is in the 18th letter, a reference or an activated here thing. So it's a here expressed, so where you're standing expressed, activating a reference. Oh, well that must be a HEAR or a HEAH, active here. Here expressed an activation here. That's something that you hear. Now, when we go into the word here as in HERE, we would say between here and here, or held in between this, expressed as a reference, expressed. See how H is the idea of starting this idea between this thing. So we're expressing that reference, and that's the expression of where we are here. Moving on to the word feel. F is the familiar number, 6, just how it comes from a top line swirling down and meeting in that middle of its, like at its stomach area, its midsection, just how F has that line coming out from its midsection. So it's the familiar, the form, the force number, right there. It's the familiarity. So then E being that bottom line expressed with 2 E's. This is the first time we have a double letter word. And I want to explain to you that every time you see 2 letters upon themselves, it's that thing happening in place. So if it's something you feel, it's a familiar, expressed upon itself 3D thing. When you are upon something in the 3D world, you feel it. See what I mean? Seeing that this is about breaking down words, I figured I should include the word itself. So it starts with the W, which is a 23rd letter. You could say it's a who, what, when, where, which, or a vitally vital, or a based concept. Now we have an O, which is ongoing or actively expressed. We have a R, which is a reference or an active here. And then we have a D, which is a dia or through, the doorway in which it goes through. So we have a vitally vital ongoing reference in which we come and go through. Oh, the word. Isn't that what we do? Yeah, it is. It's how we talk. Or you could say a what or a who, what, when, where ongoing reference. Gone through. In place. The first D is the first 4. It's the first square. So if you're going to be somewhere and going through a vitally vital ongoing reference, that would be a word. Now we move on to number. Number is a really fun one because we know if something has ER at the end, that's what it does. So number, what do you think that does? We use num things to express references, which num means something that you don't feel. But you can write down a number. You could make a big plastic sign of a number and feel it. But if you think about what a number means, the figure, the digit, they don't really mean anything. We've made them up. So number being a num body of express reference, or you could say now notion or acting through this doorway of a based active or a unit of manifestation as an active concept, based energy reference, active here. So you could say it's a notion of a unit manifested based to express reference. So it's a num body of energy reference. Numbers. Now, what about letters? Letters are 12, which is L in the 3D world. That's why we write letters, and they're more for words than numbers are. E for express, T for plus, plus. Anytime you have two T's next to each other, another double letter we have here, 20 and 20 is 40. So it's in place, right where it's at. It's a 3D expressed in place at where it's at, based on going, based on going. So it's 3D expressed, based on going, expressed reference. See what I mean? That's what a letter is. The last one for this video is the word symbol. So a symbol, an S is one letter before a T, which is a plus symbol. So we're just missing the mark, like the word sin, just missing the mark of a T, but we're still subjected. We're right below T. We're sub to that ject of T. So S, subject or actively identified. Y being a 25, so now it's a based expression. M being a 13 manifestation or a active concept. B being based. O being 15 ongoing or actively expressed. And L being in 3D as it lie or active base. So we have a subject vital identity or subject yoke yonder, something we use to show and take from. So a subject, vital identified, manifestation, based, ongoing, 3D as it lie. Or a lot of times with L I say ling, because that would mean like whatever you're using it in your livelihood to do, like the language, the ling, the length, those kind of things. But I use as it lie in the 3D world because more people would understand that. So I know these are kind of repetitive, but numbers don't add up different just because they're different numbers. And in the same way, words don't add up any different because they're words. Not even if they're a person's name. And no matter how much they want to say it's not so, it is so. Until you start living the way that you should in nature. Because otherwise, if you're living the way that they've been told, you're doing exactly what I'm saying. And I can show you how to use what I'm talking about to show you how we escape that. And not necessarily escape in a way where it's going to be this horrible thing, where we change it for the better for all of us together. And that's what I'm here to do. So until next time, peace.